Today I talk about whether you should live for yourself or others, and my take on it. This is the Luebbers journey, number 21, and this is a concept that has come to the forefront of my attention because we're creating our website right now for ZenOS for my business. And we are a legacy building agency, and we focus on legacy, on what a business's long-term impact should be. And at the same time, we're both deeply influenced by Zen philosophy, by the idea of, roughly speaking, living in the moment. And it brought up this interesting question when we were trying to write the copy for the website and think about how to sell the business and explain what we do, because there's this apparent conflict between, do you live your life in order to be remembered after you're gone? That's certainly what some people would say. Or do you live for the moment? Do you maximize the moment and enjoy each moment as much as possible, make the most of it? There's this sort of conflict that I felt about, the ideas of Zen versus the ideas of building a legacy versus living for the long term versus living for the short term. And that's really the heart of the conflict, short versus long term. And here's how what we decided on, how we resolved this. This is my personal take, which is you can do both. In fact, once I dove in and examined this in the context of my life, I came to the conclusion that the paradox was an illusion. It's not really true that you have to choose to live your life for yourself versus for other people. You can do both. And now, the exact implementation of that matters, right? I could sit here all day saying, I'm going to live my life like this. I'm going to do both. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what I say. It matters what I go out and do. So what do I mean by that? Well, for me, this means, first of all, that I have to be happy. I have to be taken care of. If I am not happy, if I'm not doing work that fulfills me, if I'm not fully utilizing my abilities to make an impact on the world, then I'm not able to help other people as much. I'm not, even in the language I use, I conveyed that. I'm not able to impact the world as much. I'm not able to create as much value, or even to have relationships that are as positive and healthy and empowering and enjoyable. So that's one implementation. I have to be happy. That's a rule for myself. I have to be fulfilled. There's sort of a difference between fulfillment and happiness, but we'll say they're more or less the same for now. And at the same time, I've intentionally intertwined my happiness with the well-being of others and with helping others, both through consciously shaping my life and my tendencies. I've learned to derive massive pleasure and enjoyment and drive from seeing the positive impact that I can have on other people and doing little things to help people and focusing on service. And that's how I'm currently interpreting this dichotomy. And it's really, it's something I've seen arguments over. I think it runs really deep. I think it's a really important thing for people to think about. Am I living for this moment, or am I living for my entire life? And I think there's a way to implement it. What I am seeking to do with my own life is to implement both, to make my short term align with the long term, to make what makes me happy, what makes me the most fulfilled, what makes me the most productive and creative, line up extremely well with where I want to go in the long term and what's best for the world and the opportunities that are emerging and the way that I can best serve people and have the best relationships. I think it's entirely possible. It might take more work, but I think it's entirely possible to align your short-term drives with your long-term drives. And so the dichotomy, the conflict between Zen and legacy, I think is false. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. And it's something that I'm going to keep exploring because I think it's a really important concept. But I hope you found this interesting. We'll talk tomorrow.